It's preparing. It's preparing.
There we go. Is your Facebook open?
Yes, my Facebook open.
It's preparing. Is your Facebook open?
And I'm getting an echo.
It's preparing. Is your Facebook open?
And I'm getting an echo.
I don't get why it repeats. Is your Facebook open?
And I'm getting an echo.
Okay.
Okay.
Is your Facebook open?
And I'm getting an echo. Okay, I've just shut down my Facebook page and I'm on Zoom. Can you see me on your Facebook page, Lucy?
I can, I think. Yes, I can.
Okay.
So
I'm on Zoom.
I'll mute it on my side, but then I can keep it open.
Okay, brilliant. Fantastic. Great. So, hi, everyone. My name is Denise Balyoz, and I am the Move Well coach. And fingers crossed, hopefully you saw the somatic session that we did last week. Was it Thursday? Wednesday?
Thursday, yeah. Last Thursday, I think it was.
Where we talked a little bit about stress and tension. We talked about the different tension patterns that form in our body, why they form, how they form, and a little bit about the incredible power of somatic movement for dissolving that out. And we also linked that to what you'll be experiencing as a mom. I'm a single mom myself. I've been a single mom since my daughter was born. And she's now 14. So I know lots about navigating this parenting journey solo and lots about the stress and tension that comes from that. Now, last week's session was more of a chit chat, a learning session. This week's session is going to be more hands-on experiential, and Lucy has very kindly offered to be our guinea pig. And so I'm actually I've never worked with Lucy before in this capacity. I've never worked with her body. So this is going to be live, and as you see it, we're gonna jump in and see what happens. Now, Lucy has kindly shared with me that the last 24 hours have been pretty stressful. And my response to that was, this is actually perfect. When we get ourselves into a mental, emotional, stressful mess, it is next to impossible to think or feel our way out of that mess. And that's because the mind and the heart have this facility to they're trying to protect us. And so they put these walls up. So if you were in the midst of a massively stressful situation and said, I'll just sit down and do some meditation now, chances are that meditation's gonna feel like this and not be very peaceful. Or if you thought, well, I'll just shift my emotions, but your heart's trying to get you into this state, chances are you're just going to frustrate yourself. At least that's my experience. However, using the physical body as a catalyst to start to shift the mental, emotional, stressful experience is incredibly powerful. And why is that? Because if we say to the body, well, we're just going to have a little look at your physical body. We're going to see, can you move a little bit here? Can you move a little bit there? And the body goes, okay. Kind of like, I always picture in my head when I say that, a 2-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever you want. Whereas the mind and the heart say, oh, you're not focused on me. Okay, I can relax a little bit. And then the focus on the physical body then becomes a portal into shifting your mental, emotional state. And simultaneously, what we're doing is dissolving the tension patterns that have gotten stuck in your body as a result of your mental, emotional tension. So, Lucy, would you like for us to kind of bring your nervous system down to a different place? And I want you to be 100% honest. We're going to ask you now, we're going to ask you at the end how you feel. And yes or no, or I don't know, all of those answers are equally good. This is your experience. Okay.
Yeah.
So just as a gentle reminder, Lucy, before we lie down on the floor, in the movement that we do, we want to, you are the person sensing and feeling into your body. We stay out of pain. we stay out of stretch, and we stay out of end range. So if I could extend, that muscle fully here, you might not go all the way. You might only go to here. And if you started feeling it tweaking, we'll back off. And that actually, in that way, we dissolve the tension patterns
Right, okay.
faster. Okay. So if you want to just tip your screen, and I'll have you lie down on the floor. And just to start out, lay flat. Lay flat on your back, and maybe pull the pillow up a little so it's not under your shoulders, it's just under your head. And just under your head, so it's not, there you go. Okay. Let your arms be by your side, and just, if you feel comfortable, you don't have to look at me at all during this. Lie flat and lie straight. And actually, I would ask you, do you even need the pillow? Can you go flat with your head, and is that comfortable?
Probably.
Is that comfortable?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. If you feel like you need the pillow, please grab it. Okay. So before we do anything, Lucy, can you just become aware of your physical body lying, you don't have to look at me, your physical body lying on the floor, and sense and feel into your footprint, your body's footprint on the carpet. You might notice how your right shoulder and left shoulder feel, or you might notice right and left hip, and they might feel the same, they might feel different. You might notice that you have a big low back arch or a small low back arch. You might notice that your hands are palm down or palm up, or your toes are straight up into the air or completely flopped out. This isn't about changing anything or equalizing anything. It's just to notice, and we're going to check in like this again at the end of our session, and you'll see how much change you've affected in, we'll probably go for about 15 minutes or so. So in a really, really, really short period of time. Okay. So the first thing, Lucy, before we begin to move our body, can you just become aware when you take a breath in, where does it land? Is it in your upper chest? Is it in your ribs? Yeah, I would say maybe even a little higher than that. Can you feel that it's more shallow upper chest rather than down in your low belly?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we're breathing up in our upper chest, this is a very natural, very normal response to stress. That is a breath that comes from fight or flight. That's just what happens. And in that way, your breath is one of the first places that mirrors to you, that says to you, hello, beautiful human, you're in stress. And your breath is going, hey, do you know you're in stress? You probably do, but that's what it's saying to you.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can't shift that a little. If you go ahead and bend your knees. Yep. And you might take your knees and your feet together so they touch each other. And then what I'm going to have you do is take your toes apart, heels touching. Yep. And then take your heels apart so that you end up with your feet and knees parallel in line with your hips. There you go. And if you put your hands on your low belly, your hands either side of your low belly, like belly button to pubic bone, low belly. So with your hands there, you just have this very gentle weight and very gentle sensory awareness of your hands on your low belly. And in your imagination, I want you to picture that your low belly is like a little balloon, and that as you breathe in, the balloon fills a little and your hands float up a little because your belly fills. And as you breathe out, your hands float down a little because the balloon deflates. And just don't try to make this happen. Just allow this to happen. Breathing in, letting your hands float up, and breathing out, letting your hands float down. Now, what's very interesting work for us to do is to tune in and notice, are your hands moving equally right side, left side? You might notice that your right side is more dominant and moves more than your left. For some, is that what you're feeling, Lucy? That's what I'm seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah, exactly the same pattern that I often get in my body. And we are crooked beings. We're right-handed or left-handed, or we always lead with one leg or the other. And so we end up with these crookednesses in our body, or we carry our kids on one hip. So As you sit there with your hands on your belly, doing nothing more than just feeling your breath, can you bring your attention to your left low belly and allow the balloon to fill equally both sides? And usually, just with a little bit of awareness to both sides of your belly, you'll feel your hands start to equalize. I mean, do you feel any shift, even if it's teeny tiny?
Teeny tiny bit.
Teeny tiny. And that's okay. We haven't dissolved tension patterns and you're new to this works, but that's brilliant. And can you feel how, Lucy, when the world is upside down and you're running here, there, and everywhere and juggling a million and one balls, that just coming here, laying on the floor, putting your hands on your low belly, breathing into the balloon of your low belly and equalizing is a great way of getting your nervous system to start to shift itself into a slightly different place. We're not making, we're noticing, we're tuning in, we're asking. And the thing I love about this is if you've got kids playing on the floor, you can do this whilst they're playing on the floor and they don't even need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So let your hands go by your side. We're going to drop into a movement called arching. Now, with somatic movement, what we do instead of trying to stretch our body is we actually go into a little bit of contraction and then we melt out of that contraction. And that's what gets the tension patterns to dissolve. So we're going to see if we can't dissolve some of your low back tension by getting you to take your pubic bone, the front of your pelvis, and tip it towards your toes. So your back muscles will contract a little, your back will arch a little. So you're going to take your pubic bone towards your toes. Yeah, there. Notice, hold your pelvis there. Just notice that your low back muscles have tightened a teensy bit. And then just let go of your pelvis and come back to neutral. Now, you did that beautifully. That movement was teeny tiny. And can you feel how you were very gentle with your physical body in doing that? Great. We're going to do that again. And then we're going to repeat this a couple of times and I'll add some nuance. So keeping your front body, your abs and the front of your hips as relaxed as possible, can you take your pubic bone towards your toes again? So your back will arch, your pelvis will tip towards your toes. Sense and feel that your low back muscles have contracted. And now, Lucy, I'm going to ask you to imagine that your hands, you're not going to move your hands, but you're going to imagine that your hands are on either side of your rib cage and that your ribs become like balloons and your rib cage puffs out sideways as you breathe in. Can you feel how your arch just deepened itself just a little? Yeah, I could see your body melt on screen. It was tiny, but it melted. And then just let your pelvis tip back to neutral, release your ribs. And for anybody who's watching, if you noticed, Lucy, you have started to connect what I call the conversation between the cogs. What do I mean by the cogs? I mean your skull, your ribs, your pelvis. Did you feel on that release that your skull actually moved?
A little bit. And I feel
Yeah.
like the arch in my back is.
Yeah. And that didn't happen the first time you moved because of the tension you had in your body. But it makes sense. If we move our pelvis is connected to our spine is connected to our ribs, and our spine is connected to our skull. And as we move our pelvis, that the chain that is our vertebrae should invite movement in the other parts of our body. And so when we dissolve the tension patterns, we get this conversation happening, which is perfect and beautiful. So let's go one more time. I'll add one more layer of nuance. When you're ready, breathe into your low belly. Let the breath puff your low belly up like a balloon and send your pubic bone towards your toes just a little. Good. Hold your pelvis there. Let your ribs kind of on your next in-breath puff sideways. And then, Lucy, can you become aware of your shoulder blades on the earth? Don't change your shoulders. Just check in. As your mind feels your shoulder blades on the earth, can you drop the weight of your upper body? Just let the weight of your upper, there, melt into the earth. Can you feel how that's changed the arch, shoulder blades, rib cage, pelvis? And now melt back to neutral. Yeah, there. And then pause and wait. And you might notice, well, gosh, In between these movements, Denise is just chit-chatting, and I'm doing that on purpose. And the reason is that when we melt back to neutral and we do nothing, that's when your brain is very busy changing its neuromuscular patterning in itself so that the messages from the brain to those muscles in your body are release, not tighten. Okay, does your back, and you may not know, do you feel any different in your back?
I feel like
No need to just,
upside down. I felt like I had quite a high arch. I feel like that's
your arch has dropped. Yeah.
definitely eased out more.
Yeah. And that you have just dissolved some of the tension in your low back in literally 5 minutes without stretching, almost without moving, and almost doing nothing. That's why I think this work is so magical. So now let's see if we can't free your front body. So we're going to go the other way. Before we go the other way, can you, in your mind's eye, just picture your back muscles, picture your glutes, your bottom. Imagine those parts of your body just being really soft and relaxed, like they're lying on the softest of mattresses. And you're going to imagine that on your belly, in your belly, you've got two lines, one either side of your belly button. And those two lines are going to shorten. So your abs are going to contract a little. Bring your pubic bone towards your nose, but it's from your abs that happens. So your pubic bone comes towards your nose. Your low back is soft and on the ground. Yes. And just wait there. And then melt the pelvis back to neutral. Melt and release. Come back to neutral. Release your abs. Breathe in your belly. Can you feel how stuck your body is on this front side, Lucy? Very normal. So we're going to go again. We'll add some nuance. Picture your abs like two lines from the rib cage to your pelvis. Picture those two lines shortening. And can you bring your pubic bone towards your nose? Yeah. And can you feel how tight that movement is for you? Yeah.
On this side.
Yeah. So we're going to add a little nuance. Can you keep your pelvis where it is? Can you put your hands on the front of your rib cage? Okay. I want you to imagine that the front of your rib cage melts down into your abs, and it does that because you become aware of the back of your rib cage on the floor. And when you become aware of the back of your rib cage just melting into the carpet, can you feel the front of your rib cage go down and in? Just a little. You feel that? It's deep. Yeah. It's almost like you've made this like U shape from the ribs to the pelvis. And then take a big breath in your front belly and melt your pelvis, melt your ribs. Yeah, release your hands by your sides. Was that easier to take a breath into your body?
It's, yeah, easier to go deeper.
Yeah, exactly. Now, for anyone watching, they may be going, what? Because it's so, I'm looking at the micromillimeter movements and contracting and releasing that's happening in your body. So if you're watching and you don't see this, don't worry. Just follow the words and follow the guidance if you want to try this at home. So Lucy, we're going to go one more time with the front body, and we're going to add one more dimension to this. So invite your abs to pull your pubic bone towards your nose. Yes. Become aware of the back of your ribs and see if you can't melt the front of your ribs down and in. Yes. And now your shoulder heads, the big fronts of your shoulders. Can you bring them into slumpy desk shoulders? So let them come off the floor towards your chest. Yeah, let them slump so they lift off the ground. There. Can you feel how we've almost made this U shape? Melt your ribs, bring the pubic bone towards your nose, slump your shoulders forward. Yeah, and then melt everything back to the floor. Yes. Yeah, there. Wait, do nothing for a moment. And now take a big breath in your low belly, Lucy, and send your pubic bone towards your toes. Big breath in the low belly. Send your pelvis towards your toes, arching your low back. Big, 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 big breath if you can, deeper if you can. There. Yes. And melt back to neutral. Does that feel different at all?
A
little bit. Yeah. So you have quite a lot of tension stuck in your ribs and in your diaphragm and in your front body, which is the case for anyone who does work at a desk and on a screen. And there are other movements, other things that we would do to free that, but I promised that we would keep this short and sweet so that you can see how much you can achieve in just a few minutes. So let's go one more time to help the front body. So, and I'm going to change up how we do this. Bring your pubic bone towards your nose, so your back's on the earth. Your abs have contracted. And now let your shoulder heads come into slumpy desk shoulders. So they lift off the floor, they come like towards your sternum, towards your midline. So the right shoulder goes towards the left hip, the left shoulder goes towards the right hip. Yes. And now melt your front ribs in towards the abs. Let them sink into your body there. Do you feel how you've got this U-shape, bowl shape experience going on in your front body? Let your brain process the fact that you've contracted your front body. And now, Lucy, melt the shoulders, melt the ribs, melt the pelvis. Let it tip back to neutral. Yes. There. And I can see your chest and shoulders slowly, slowly, slowly letting go. And now take a deep breath into your low belly, Lucy. Big, 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 big breath in. Yeah, send your pubic bone towards your toes. Bigger breath in. Yeah, there. And come back to neutral. Okay. Let your legs go long and straight. Relax. Yeah, relax your toes if they want to relax. Let the legs flop out if they want to flop out. Now, do you feel any different in your footprint that you make on the floor?
My back definitely doesn't feel as arched.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, it felt like there was more pressure this side, my right. Now it feels more on that side, but not like as much as it was, but I feel it more on my left now instead of my right.
You've shifted, you've equalized the pattern a little bit. That's very normal. And are you surprised that's been 10 minutes of moving because we chit-chatted? Are you surprised that in 10 minutes you can do so much?
Yeah.
With almost nothing. And Lucy,
Yeah.
I'm going to get you to stand up in a second, but just before we do, can you just close your eyes for a second, drop into your kind of mental emotional state? And do you feel a shift in your stress level or your calmness level? Do you feel any difference after just 10 minutes?
Yeah, it does. It's so weird to even think that, but it does feel like a bit sort of lighter, easier, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes clients will say, I feel lighter, I feel more grounded, I feel more connected.
Yeah.
In just under 10 minutes, which is why I believe so passionately in this work for anyone who's short on time, and any parent is short on time, because you can transform things in a practice of 10 to 15 minutes a day. Even if you break that up into 2 8-minute sessions or 3 5-minute sessions, you can transform a heck of a lot mentally, emotionally, physically, to support you in being a better parent, to support you in feeling better for yourself. And let's face this, if we don't feel good in ourselves, we don't show up as great parents.
Exactly.
But now, here's the next step, Lucy. I'm going to get you to stand up.
Yeah.
You don't have to change the camera. Just stand up and go for a mini walk around your lounge. Just
Okay.
I want you to feel yourself walking. Let your arms hang by your side. Let your head look at the horizon and just go for a little walk and come back. Does it feel different for you to walk?
Slightly does. I feel it lower in my glutes rather than up.
Yeah.
In the hips, like it
lower.
feels more actually in my glutes than in the mechanism.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we were working one-to-one, we'd look at your specific body and we dissolve out your specific tension patterns. and you've started that work now. And I'll just caveat this by saying you have youth on your side. So the the longer tension patterns sit in our body, the more fixed they become, and sometimes the longer it takes to dissolve them. And yet everybody that I've worked with can do something to help themselves in just a few minutes a day. Do we have any questions in the Facebook? I've taken
There's no questions. There's a couple of people saying hello. So a couple of people have jumped on live to watch. But yeah, no specific questions. And if anyone has them, feel free to pop them in.
Yeah. And so I'm the Move Well coach, and I might actually put together a special offer for this community for the next 48 hours. So I'll create a special code and put the link in.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate
it. You're welcome. So I run Align Body, Align Being, which is 7 30-minute sessions like this throughout the month. And then one big experiential session. It's an hour and 15 minutes on one of the last Sundays of the month, all according to a theme. This month, we're doing not only stuff laying down, but we're also doing stuff sitting, that tips, things that you can take into the office or when you can't lie down.
Yeah.
So I'll put that in there. That's the Align Body program. And yeah, any questions? Do you have any questions having experienced that?
No, no questions. I find it really interesting because like you say, we'd never done anything in this capacity together before. So I'd never experienced somatics. And I'm just really surprised at how little the movement is. And I can fully see, I'm going to watch it back to see if I could obviously feel the movement, but to watch it back and see if I can physically see the movement. Because I can imagine how probably a lot of people were thinking she's just lying there, she's not moving, but I could feel
and the other thing, Lucy, that happens is that when we have these tension patterns stuck in our body, our ability to move, let's say we were tipping the pelvis, and your pelvis tipping was very small. It was a few millimeters this way, a few millimeters. As we dissolve out these tension patterns in your front and back body, your ability to move your pelvis will get significantly greater. So we are born and we are designed to move our hips, our pelvis, to move our ribs, to move our skull in all directions with different patterns. And if you watch a person in their 80s walking down the street, it's really stiff and stuck and truncated. The only reason it's like that is not because they're in their 80s. It's because these tension patterns have taken hold and constricted the movement. I even watch some teenagers walk down the road and they're like that today because of all the screen time they're on.
Yeah.
And the more you free it up, the more you dissolve these tension patterns, no matter what your age, the more you start to walk. Not exactly but if you watch a runway model, they're like,
yeah,
doesn't look like that. But you're able to move your body in the way your body's designed to move. And the more your body can move like that, the more your body releases any tension patterns you might have picked up, and the calmer your mind and your heart stay. If you're in pain, your mind and your mental emotional landscape will already be a little irritated. And then you get the stress of life, and then so it's everything works together.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think just that would be great to do, like you say, at whatever point of the day works for you. But even especially if you can or have a morning routine, just add in that 5 minutes of doing that.
I do
a great start to your day.
I do 5-10 minutes every morning before I jump on to do my yoga practice. I also highly recommend it at the end of the day, especially if you've had a stressful day. If you're wadded up like this and you get into bed, you're not going to fall asleep straight away.
No.
If you do this, or when I work with a client one-on-one and we have an hour session, they always report back that they've slept 10 times better than they normally do, because the nervous system has been brought into that place of calm and peace and connection, and you're able to sleep and sleep much more deeply than normally. So it's a brilliant tool for before bed or at the start of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect.
Fantastic. So
Thank you.
I'll drop a message in after this event
Yep.
post. And fantastic, Lucy. It was
Perfect. It was really good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Have a good day.
Bye. Bye.